In April, when Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour decided not to run for president, it was one of those moments where the common wisdom about that decision was totally different among political insiders than it was among the rest of us. For people who aren't political insiders, the idea that Haley Barbour would run for president seemed a little far-fetched. What he had made national news for over the last year was stuff like claiming the civil rights era in Mississippi was no big deal. In fact, it was kind of fun. Claiming that conservative citizens councils, sometimes known as white citizens councils, kept everything peaceful in Mississippi. If you are not a political insider, the idea of Haley Barbour being elected president is a little like the idea of Boss Hogg being elected homecoming king. It just doesn't seem doable. But political insiders really thought that Haley Barbour might be the guy for the Republican Party this year. He's former chair of the party, is well-liked and respected among the establishment and big money guys inside that party. And people in the know, not the hoi polloi, but people in the know, thought this guy was the establishment choice. When he said he decided not to run in April of this year, who was the establishment going to support instead of him? Apparently, that support went to Mitch Daniels. Sure, he was to George W. Bush's budget office what Michael Brown was to FEMA, and sure, he's very, very small and has sort of confusing politics, but it's just what it seemed like to the hoi polloi. To the Republican insiders, Mitch Daniels was the inheritor of all the establishment money and attention and support after Haley Barbour decided to pass. But then in May, Mitch Daniels decided to pass too. So no Haley Barbour, no Mitch Daniels. Where's the establishment support going to go now? It does not go to Mitt Romney. By all accounts, the man is gravely disliked among lots of different parts of the Republican Party, including the establishment. It's not Sarah Palin. It's not Tim Pawlenty. It's not Fred Karger? No, there is nobody who has locked up the Republican Party establishment support. Next in line for the establishment support from the Republican Party appears to be, in all seriousness, Rick Perry. One of George W. Bush's biggest fundraising bundlers is bringing in uncommitted, big-dollar Republican fundraisers to talk about whether they could support a Perry bid for president. The political operatives who fled Newt Gingrich's campaign when it sunk on launch appear to be swimming toward Rick Perry's potential campaign. And crucial here is Haley Barbour's nephew, Henry Barbour. Henry Barbour is a member of the RNC. He's seen by many people as the arbiter of where all that establishment support that was going to go to his uncle is going to go now instead. Henry Barbour said this week of Rick Perry, quote, "I hope he does run," telling the Washington Post he would endorse Rick Perry if he did. Going on, quote, "I've talked to a number of folks who are going to support Haley had he run, and a good percentage of them are very favorable to a Perry candidacy. He's got a great record in Texas. We align with him philosophically, and he can win. It's that simple." So for all the media excitement about Sarah Palin or Chris Christie, I don't know, George Pataki, I don't know, for all the speculation about anybody else, it looks like the one to watch is Rick Perry, which makes it all the more amazing that Mr. Perry is going ahead with his stadium prayer event in a couple of weeks, which is with these guys.
President Barack Obama nurtures this hatred for the United States of America, and I believe nurtures a hatred for the white man.
If Rick Perry doing events with guys like that really does get the Republican establishment's support, it will also be amazing to see how the Republican establishment will deal with what is today being reported in Texas papers. What's being reported is that late last month, Rick Perry said this at a meeting with East Texas business leaders. He said, quote, "At 27 years old, I knew that I had been called to the ministry. I've just always been really stunned by how big a pulpit I was going to have. I still am. I truly believe with all my heart that God has put me in this place at this time to do his will." Called to the ministry? Is Rick Perry a minister? No, Rick Perry is not a minister. What does he mean when he says he was called to the ministry? What is the ministry exactly? He means running for office. He sees himself as clergy. Can the Republican Party become the Church of Rick? You guys on board? Is he going to be the Republican Party's savior this year?